Hi, how's everyone? Today we are going to be talking about the much overdue topic that is chakras. I'm sorry, I had been keeping really busy, so I did not have time, to put together all the information that I had on chakras. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about that. So first thing, why are we talking about chakras? In the last video, we discussed about the types of three bodies that humans have, which is gross, subtle, and causal, and what are koshas and other aspects. So chakras is basically a subtle body work. So gross body is our physical and actual body. Subtle body is where all of these spiritual works, energy based works take place. And causal body is something which is basically everyone's aim when they are trying to achieve moksha or liberation. So anyway, chakras is a subtle body work. And why are we understanding all of this and why are we understanding chakras also? Is because any spiritual work that you do, or if you are somebody who's very inclined spiritually, you like working on yourself spiritually, then chakras is the first thing that you need to understand. Because everything that we feel and everything that we are, the answers lie in chakras. So before we understand chakras, you need to understand two body functions that are extremely important for any sort of spiritual work that you do. First is prana, which I also spoke about in my last video, and the second is nadi. So what is prana? Prana is your breath. And that is why when you practice yoga, or even when you come to me and I sense that you're very anxious, or you do not have a lot of clarity, breath work is the first solution that I suggest. So prana is the ultimate life force, which is breath, that breathes into us, the air that we breathe into us, that actually gives us this life. So prana is important. And then nadis. What is nadis? Like in the real world, in our real body, we have the nervous system, we have nerves. Similarly, in the spiritual world and in our subtle body or the spiritual body, we have energy nerves, which is called nadis. And currently it is said that we have 72,000 such nerves. So when we take prana in, that is when we breathe in, the breath flows into our energy system within our body via these nadis. Nadis, or these nerve or energetic channels, are actually what are also used in the functionality of acupuncture. So now we have 72,000 nadis. Certain concepts, club these nadis differently. Like the Chinese have formed a cluster of 6,000 nadis together, and hence, for them it's like 12 functioning systems of 6,000 nadis each, hence making it 72,000. But in the Hindu spiritual culture, what we believe is that there are three nadis that are extremely important. And funnily, these three nadis that I'm going to be talking about is also something that the Western has picked up, because when I'll tell you about it, you'll realize that this system of these nadis is something that we see behind every ambulance globally. So what are these three nadis? It's called Ida, Pingala and Sushma. So Sushma is in the middle. Ida is on the left and Pingala is on the right, and Sushma is the nadi that is in the middle. And these three nadis together also bring us the concept of Kundalini, which we will not discuss in this video, perhaps some other video. So when we are breathing, when we are taking the prana in, the energy flows in our body, and the aim of our life is to constantly be conscious of our breath, to know that we have to flow the right energy within us and start activating our energy nerves, nadis, more properly. And from these nadis, these three nadis, which is Ida, Pingala and Sushma, are extremely important. So now I'm going to be telling you a little bit about Ida, Pingala and Sushma. So Ida is the nadi, or Ida is the nerve channel that basically flows from the left side. Pingala is the one that flows on the right side, and Sushma is your middle nerve channel. And this is all situated at the back of your spine. So if you were to look at someone's spine, the middle part of the spine is the Sushma, energy that flows from the left and it goes in a spiral manner, okay? That is called the Ida. And again, the middle part of your spine, energy that flows from the right, that is called the Pingala. And this particular diagram, which I'm also going to be displaying in the edit of the video, is the system of Ida, Pingala and Sushma, which further forms the system of Kundalini. wherever your Pingala and your Ida, so your Ida and your Pingala, Sushma is always stable in the middle. Okay, we just have to like blow prana, or blow breath into that, activate that, with constant breathing. And Pingala and Inda and Ida and Pingala also require breath to be flown in them, require prana to function, to get activated. But because they work in a spiral manner, and wherever this spiral crosses each other, wherever Ida and Pingala cross each other, these form the 7 chakras of our body.
So if you look at this diagram, the red serpent is the energy of the Ida because it's flowing on the left side, and the right serpent, the yellow one, is the energy of Pingala. The middle part, which is not visible very properly, but you can see like a long stick going to the top, that is your Sushma. So Ida is also the feminine energy in your body, and Pingala is the masculine energy in your body. Wherever these paths are crossing, you can see that they are forming the chakras. The round symbols that you see are the chakras that are being showcased in this diagram. And all of this is only possible when we are breathing in prana. When we are breathing in the air, which is flowing into our subtle nerves, nadis, the energetic channels, that's when the Ida, the Pingala gets activated and our chakras get activated.
There's also a lot of different concepts in this. I don't want to make this video very long, so I will not tell everything in detail, but just a little bit for your information. That is that the Ida and the Pingala are both balancing acts of the masculine and the feminine energy, the Shiv and the Shakti. That's why in a lot of spiritual concepts you must be seeing that balance your feminine, even for boys, or sometimes girls must be seeing balance your masculine. So what does that mean? That basically means that the Ida Pingala and the Sushma, they need to be balanced. So the feminine and the masculine, these energies within you, they need to be properly balanced. Wherever these energies cross, while they are meeting Sushma also in the middle, that's the part which is called a chakra. So for chakras, it is also said that we have 114 chakras in our body. Then there are also 21 quite active chakras. However, in the works of spirituality and in most of the spiritual texts or any spiritual course or practices that you may pursue, there are 7 chakras that are spoken about most widely. The chakras also have a base and a start, okay? And see, because we spoke about our spine being the Sushma, right? So basically the chakras are pretty much situated in our body, okay? So the base of the chakra is called the root chakra, or the starting of the chakra. And the top of the chakra, from where the energy flows in, is called the crown chakra. So crown chakra is from where the energy flows in, and root chakra or the base chakra is from where the energy flows out. So basically there is an opening and there is a closing. So what I have done is, right now in this video, I've explained you everything from the back. That is that, okay, we have breath and we have nadis, and then there are 3 important nadis, which is Ida, Pingala and Sushma. Wherever they meet, we form the chakras, and chakras has an opening, which is the crown chakra, and it has a closing, which is the root chakra. However, whenever you're wanting to activate your spiritual self, get more acquainted with your true self, you do the work first on the chakras. So a simple thing, you can't reach the top point of spirituality, right, straight up. So you have to start from baby steps. So chakras is the first step of any spiritual or subtle body work that you want to do. So how many chakras are there? There are 7 chakras: the root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra and the crown chakra. The root chakra in Hindi is called the Mooladhara chakra. The sacral chakra, or the second chakra from the base of our body, that is called the Swadhisthana chakra. The third chakra, which is the solar plexus chakra, it is also called in Hindi Manipura chakra. The fourth chakra, which is our heart chakra, situated in the middle, not right on top of our heart as one may believe, that is also called the Anhata chakra. Then the throat chakra is also called the Vishuddha chakra. The third eye chakra is also called in Hindi the Ajna chakra, and the crown chakra in Hindi it's called Sahasrara chakra. So 7 chakras in our body. Each chakra has a dedicated color. Each chakra performs a specific function for us, and they all need to be balanced for us to lead a happy, fulfilling, and a spiritually prosperous life. So I'll tell you a little bit about each chakra in this video, and then in the future videos we are going to address each chakra a little bit more in detail and look for solutions in terms of how you can balance them. I think I will actually get up for this, and also this is a painting I made years ago which I think would just solve the purpose of using for this. So our root chakra is actually red in color, okay, and that is actually situated at the base of our spine or our groin area. So I'll actually get up for this also. Give me a second. So this is where our root chakra is situated in our body. Then we have the sacral chakra. Then we have the solar plexus just a little bit above our belly button. Then we have the heart chakra. Then we have the throat chakra. Then we have the third eye chakra, and finally the crown chakra. So first we are going to be discussing about the root chakra. So root chakra is represented by the color red, and it signifies trust in yourself, a sense of security and stability in life, survival instincts, willpower, vibrancy in your life. So if you feel that you have too strong of a willpower, or you trust people very easily, or you have very weak willpower and you do not trust people easily, so all of these are signs of your chakra not being balanced. A chakra can be both overactive and underactive. So what will be an example of overactive chakra? Suppose if we love a little bit too easy, if we give everybody a chance too much when it comes to trust, so that means your chakra could also be overactive. Because just because we are good human beings or we are pure human beings, that does not mean that everybody deserves the right trust or love from us. We have to be cautious of these things. We have to be smart about it, simply put. So the root chakra is represented by the color red. The root chakra also symbolizes our relationship with our own self sexually, in sense how comfortable are we with our feminine or our masculine side. And the second chakra is the sacral chakra, which is a bright orange color. And what does that symbolize? It symbolizes creativity, vitality. It symbolizes sensuality. It is also a very important chakra for people who are suffering from PCOS or hormonal issues when it comes to women specifically. Because bodily also, this is the part where our uterus is situated, and our sacral chakra sits somewhere near that only. Of course, in the subtle body, meaning it's not actually really visible. So if you work on your sacral chakra, if you meditate on it, you might be able to help your hormonal issues, you might be able to make them better. Then, can you see the yellow color here? We have the solar plexus chakra. So solar plexus chakra is just almost near or little above the belly button of a human, and this is again related to self-esteem, discipline, how powerful do we feel within ourselves, responsibilities, are we somebody who runs away from responsibility or takes on too many responsibilities? If you have a lot of control issues, if you are very judgmental towards people, if you know that you are a little manipulative, then it is about time that you balance your solar plexus chakra. Then coming on to the next chakra, which is our heart chakra. It's a bright red green, and of course it goes without saying, heart chakra is to talk about the joy, empathy, love that we feel for ourselves and for others in our life. But because your chakras can be imbalanced, so if you are somebody who's very insecure when it comes to love, gets jealous very easily, is super possessive, then maybe your heart chakra is blocked and you need to work upon your heart chakra. If you are somebody who feels that, I feel damaged, I'm not ready for love, I do not feel that I will ever be able to find the right love, then both your heart chakra and your root chakra need to be worked upon. Then comes our fifth chakra, which is our throat chakra, signified by the color blue. So it's situated right here, of course, in the subtle body. And what does our throat chakra do? Gives us the sense of communicating properly. So if you're somebody who says, मेरा कहने का मन था, but मैं अपनी बात बोल ही नहीं पाया, or somebody who's very talkative and who talks very frustratingly all the time, doesn't know how to communicate their feelings politely or properly, and hence comes across as rude or impolite, then you need to work upon your heart chakra. If you're an aspiring speaker, a YouTuber, a blogger, and you know that you would have to do a lot of talking in your videos, then heart chakra is something that you should totally work upon. One thing to understand here is our throat chakra is what is connecting our heart, our solar, our sacral, our root to our third eye and to our crown chakra. So it is also a passage, a gateway, for two parts of your body to get connected. And hence, if your throat chakra is balanced, you yourself would feel very happy in life. You would feel very balanced in life, because there's nothing in terms of communicating that you would be holding back, but at the same time, there is nothing that you would be communicating wrongly. Then comes our sixth chakra, which is the third eye chakra, which is signified by a very beautiful blue violety color. And actually, the color of the third chakra and the crown chakra is somewhat similar. So, third chakra is a little bit bluish and crown chakra becomes a little bit purplish. So, anyway, coming on to third chakra now. So, third chakra is usually the chakra that people want to get active immediately the moment they start any spiritual work, especially if they're new to any practices of divination like numerology, tarot card reading, astrology. Everybody just wants hamara third eye chakra activate ho jaye. We should be intuitive, we should have all the answers. But I'm sorry, it will not work like that. It is the powerhouse of intuition, knowledge, foresight, willpower, understanding your true inner self, clarity, and connecting you to the universe. It's a beautiful chakra. It is only by regular meditation that this chakra gets activated. Then we are coming to now the crown chakra, which is signified by the color purple. I'm not sure if you can see the color purple here, but it's situated on the top of the head. It's a beautiful purple color. It moves like a wheel on top of our head, again subtly, and it is your gateway for the spiritual connection and the connection with the cosmos. So after every other chakra in your body is activated, you have done enough subtle work, is when your crown chakra gets activated. This chakra is mostly activated for people who read Akashic records, tarot cards, runes, past life regression. So for many of such people, this chakra is often activated. Now, when I say activated, I want you to understand there is always a chance in your life that any of these chakras can again get deactivated or may not be as properly functioning as earlier. And that is why you have to do constant work on all of your chakras. So now I'll explain you what is the purpose and the flow of these chakras. So starting from the base of our spine or the base of our spine, then going to our sacral, then our solar plexus, then heart, then throat, then third, then crown. The flow of the chakras has to be such, from top to bottom or bottom to down. That's not important, but the important part is that first you will always have to work on your root chakra. Why is that? If you have seen my previous video, you have to understand that ultimately we are beings on humans on earth, right? And because we are humans on earth, first we need to work upon the things here, now, in this very moment. And what is in this very moment? Of course our body, but at the same time our feet on ground. So working on the root chakra is a prior thing to getting your chakra activated. Then from your root chakra, you work on your next chakra, which is sacral, then solar, and that's how you elevate yourself to work on your crown chakra. It is always suggested to work on these chakras individually when you're starting this journey. Why? Because if you try to balance all chakras together and work all of them together, then how will you know that what block in your life is actually a real block? Meaning, if you're just working on balancing all chakras together, okay? But how will you know that, maybe you are a very deeply insecure person, and that is something that you first need to treat on very properly before you move on to, treating your creativity. Because if you're insecure, maybe you're not confident enough to put your work out, fearing somebody might steal it or somebody might, rip off your ideas. And if you feel like that, then you will not ever be expressing yourself creatively fully. And if you don't do that, then maybe you will never be somebody who communicates also properly and who always has her hole in his heart feeling that I'm not living my full life. So you understand how just a fear of insecurity or stability, which is usually addressed at the root chakra, could be causing you to not be creative enough in your life, which could then be blocking your heart chakra, further blocking your throat chakra. Hence, The root to starting anything is working on the root chakra. So now, how do we work on these chakras? So very simple things. First is meditation. So if you simply go on YouTube, you will find a lot of meditations on these chakras. How they work is they ask you to visualize that chakra. And see, none of these meditations will work in a week or 10 days. Why? Because in a week or 10 days, if you're new to meditation, you will simply get into a habit of meditating. And it is only after a week or 10 days, when you're constantly working on that chakra, is when you will realize, or maybe certain images will come to you, or certain thoughts and words will come to you, and hence you will know that within these chakras also what is it that you need to work upon. So meditation is one thing. Then the second thing is that you can try mantras. You know already that I'm such a big fan of mantras. So there are bij mantras or seed mantras for each of these chakras, and you can try that. Then there are also remedies for chakras, like backflower remedies. There are crystals that you can use for balancing these chakras. There are color therapies that you can try for these chakras, because each chakra has an associated color, like we discussed. So you can try color therapy. Suppose if you feel that your heart chakra is very blocked, wear more of green. If you feel that your root chakra is very blocked, wear more of red. So there are a lot of remedies that you can try to balance your chakra. I, of course, believe in something that is more sustainable, and that is something that stays with you. Hence, I always suggest people going for mantras or meditation, because that way you are investing your time and not just simply doing a ritual and letting it be, or doing a remedy and letting it be. And when you invest your time in something, you obviously feel like working upon it, fixing it, and you can monitor the changes. One thing, did you notice, guys? Isn't it funny that how the colors of the chakras actually form the colors of the rainbow also? You know, that's what I think. The universe, the cosmos, everything is so beautiful that if you were to, read about these things more deeply, you would actually realize that everything is just connected to the universe in the end. Another thing, all of our chakras look like little wheels. Just as the name goes, a chakra, a round. So all of the chakras, when you're visualizing them, you're supposed to visualize a wheel of that color. So suppose if you're sitting and meditating and talking about heart chakra, you're supposed to visualize a wheel here that is moving, and that is bright green in color. So when you will align and balance your chakras, I'm telling you, your perspective would be a little different towards life. Even if you do, these meditations just for 1 week or 10 days, you would actually start feeling a small shift in yourself. You might feel more confident, more happy, and that is when you will know that it is working. Alright, so that's all that I have for this video. In the next video, we are going to be discussing about each chakra separately and how you can balance them. Bye.